Yummy pasta. The world has changed. I feel it in the water, Anna. I feel it in the earth. I smell it in the air. Much that once was is lost, for none now view who remember it. It began with the forging of the great calendars. 3 were given to the Hobbits, but 1 calendar was made to catch up to them all, or catch them all up, or whatever. Mwahaha! So, it was August 2016, or it still is August 2016, and I have finally done it. At the beginning of my 7th year of monthly calendars, or is this the 8th year? It's confusing. But at the beginning of this year, new year of monthly calendars, I have finally caught up. So, you may remember, I started making these calendars in March. And so finally, now I have caught up to August 2016. Because today is August 2016. Or this month is. And so, yeah. Well, although that wasn't the reason I did the theme that I did for this month was, Lord of the Rings. So, yeah. Lord of the Rings is a movie I saw when I was really younger than I should have been to watch this movie. I mean, I don't know if I was younger than I should have been. But we saw it with our dad. My parents were, like, separating and stuff, and, you know, and then Dad showed this to us even though we were too young to see it, and so it was like the most terrifying movie I had ever seen. And it was like so scary, and I was like, you know, I probably screamed or something when I was watching it. But then a few years later, you know, it was like I had known about the Hobbit video game, and it was such a nice game about a nice little Bilbo, a nice little Hobbit, you know, going on these crazy adventures. And then he found this sweet little ring, and he took the ring and he could turn invisible. And it was such a happy thing for Bilbo. And then suddenly, you find out that this followed the Hobbit, and there you have it. The ring is evil, and it belongs to Sauron, and it was going to destroy everybody. And there was a giant eye. And so, it was a really scary movie for me. It still is intense, but it's not so scary anymore. So when I watched it a little later, you know, I didn't see the rest of the series, I don't think. I just saw the first movie because I was so scared. And then we saw it a little bit later when we got older and it wasn't so scary anymore. But it's still a little airy and there's a darkness about it because the world is going over to Sauron. And so, it's pretty cool actually. And it's an emotional story, and it got an Oscar nomination. And so, yeah. So it's a great story about a guy named Frodo, a hobbit from the Shire, who has to... Well, okay, let's put it this way. It's about a little man who has to travel far and wide to throw an evil ring into a volcano to destroy a giant eye at the top of a tower. Now, yeah, that's a very dumb-sounding plot, but, you know, it's really much better than it sounds. It gets really intense. It's about, you know, darkness taking over. And it just has a lot of heart and everything. So, yeah, when I decided I was going to do it as a monthly calendar, I was like, well, you know, I was thinking, and I was like, okay, so I had done the Hobbit calendars, sort of, over time, and I was like, let's go to Lord of the Rings. So, you'll notice this calendar doesn't look too much like the Hobbit calendars. I wanted to continue the story, but then again, Lord of the Rings is sort of separate from The Hobbit, so it's sort of, even though it's similar, it's quite different at the same time. So, like, the text font instead is a different color, Old English Text, MT. Wait, what? It is? This? Wait a second. Oh, so they are the same text font, but, you know, I still wanted it to look sort of different. So, yeah, I mean, I only use these as very, very mild references rather than, made them so important to how I was gonna make this calendar look. So yeah, I was just wanting to do this calendar sort of separately and on its own. So, if you look back at the older Hobbit film calendars, you'll go like, okay. So, yeah. So Lord of the Rings follows The Hobbit, like, at least 60 years later, maybe, I think it's actually more than 60 years later, Frodo goes to throw a ring into the volcano. Yeah, I was gonna say something, but I don't oh yeah, the reason I chose this, well, you know, it was one of those themes that I wanted to choose, and then I was like, I'm so excited to do Lord of the Rings, but then I got it so far into my mind that then I suddenly felt like I had to do it, and that's horrible, because, you know, I was like, oh great, now I have to do it rather than want to do it, even though I wanted to do it, and now I feel like I have to. So yeah, I wanted to complete these ones also, continue. I didn't want it just to be The Hobbit, I wanted to do all of them, and so that was a good idea. But then I ended up wanting it too much that I ended up not wanting it, and then ended up doing it anyway. Even though I still wanted it, just not as much. So, as you'll see here, you have the background and the text box. So, the background was going to be, the idea was just to do the background and then the text box different colors. I wanted the background to be sort of yellow and then the text box to be sort of green. But the problem I kept running into was every time I tried to adjust the colors, they always seemed almost exactly the same because, you know, they were supposed to be darker and everything. But then they ended up just getting too similar, and so it took me a while to find a yellow and a green that were of this shade that were dark enough to make it look like, to make it look interesting like I wanted. And then you'll see here that there's also a more intense fade, like this starts out really dark and then goes to sort of lighter near the center, or actually really lighter. And then let's see. And then this box, is just a very simple fade that doesn't look too intense. It's just a nice green. And I might as well bring attention to this. The text font here is Bakerville Old Face. Well, that was one thing I did differently than the Hobbit calendars, which I just used the Old English text throughout, I guess. At least, yeah, I used the Old English text down here, but I decided to do, you know, just go ahead and do it differently. So, yeah, that was something different. Now, the ring, right here in the center, I was like, I wanted to put the ring. Now, the ring wasn't as hard as I thought it would be, because I wanted it to surround this picture. So what I did, really, all I had to do was, I went to insert, and then online pictures. So, this is how you get clip art, and then I just typed in the ring, I think. And then I ended up finding this picture, and, yeah, it's right there, and I adjusted the shape. I wanted it, you know, I mean, it looks sort of awkward that way, but I hoped it looked like it was at an angle. But yeah, so I added that, and so that would be cool. Now, the one thing was, I wanted to get it behind I wanted it to wrap around the picture. So what I did was I just inserted it, but then I decided I would do something else. So, what I did was, you'll see this. What I did was I actually, made the ring the shape I wanted, and then copied and pasted it, and then split it, and then, you know, just kept replacing it, and then, you know, I cropped the picture a few times, to make it into the shape I wanted, and then, just to make it look like the layer or whatever was there. And then I just overlapped it so it looked like, it would fit better. Like I made it look like it was one ring wrapping around. It was sort of hard to do with the shadow, because then the shadow sort of, I had to make sure there was a shadow, but yet the shadow didn't, like, totally interfere. You can still see a slight seam here, probably because of the shadow, but it's not as intense when you look at it from a distance as it could have been, which is really great that it didn't ruin the whole look. Yeah, and then the text font here is white, rather than any of these other, well, rather than this color, just because I felt that it would work better as white. So yeah, so the picture in the center, I could have actually done this easier by just cropping the picture twice, doing the picture rather than the ring, but I didn't think of that, and I could have just done it twice. And so yeah, the ring is also supposed to be bringing on a light. So here's a poster that you'd see if you went to see the movie in theaters. It's sort of covered by the ring. Hopefully you don't need to see it that bad. And then I did 6 pictures on each side. Here is a picture of... Okay, here is a picture of the Shire. This is where, there's some great music about the Shire, and, you know, just having a good time reaching the Shire and everything. And then you go down, and here's Bilbo leaving the Shire because he wants to see mountains again. So yeah. And then here is Frodo, Merry and Pippin. They're crossing huge mountain ranges to get to their destination. It's a long journey. Quite crazy stuff, if you think about it. And then here they're standing by the gates to see the kings of old. They might be entering Rohan, I think, not necessarily. And then here is, "You shall not pass!" or something. It's also another famous movie quote. Not as famous as "I Am Your Father" or "I Volunteer as Tribute," but still popular. And then here is Frodo and Sam, you know, they're great friends, and they're going to go to Mordor together. And then here are 9 companions, the Fellowship of the Ring. You can see that this is actually behind the 6th, which is pretty cool. So yeah. I actually added a picture on top to cover the shadow of the ring, which wasn't what I was going for. And then here is, no, that's not what I wanted. Boromir, he's sort of criticizing Frodo, or about to. And then here is all of them hiding from the Black Rider, who wants the Ring of Power. And everybody's like, you know, just like, whoa, or something. And, here is Lothlorien, whatever that place is that Galadriel lives, and she's a pretty scary lady, which, you know, a lot has changed, because she wasn't that scary here, and then suddenly she just became this really scary lady. Yeah, I wouldn't want to meet her anymore, but it was just fine back then. And then here is Frodo, putting on the ring, and now he has seen the eye! And I'm being a little weird, so if you think I'm weird, that's fine. And then here is Frodo, after Gandalf said, "You shall not pass." And, you know, he has a ring and everything, and it's pretty intense for Frodo. And then here, we might as well reveal, last month's theme was Captain America 3, the Civil War, or just Civil War. you can go check out the link to this calendar once I have it up, and hopefully you enjoy it, and all of that. And then this month, let's see. So basically, the Rio Olympics 2016 started on the August 5th, 2016. So yeah, it's the Olympics. They didn't hold it exactly in winter, they held it in winter in Brazil, even though it's the Summer Olympics. But I think that I hear that it's pretty hot there anyway. I haven't been there, so I don't know. So yeah, it's probably a nice temperature for the Olympics. And then 9 Lives, it's a movie, it's in theaters, and yeah. So yeah, it's about a guy who turns into a cat. And then we have some stuff. A lot of more stuff. And then a movie called Pete's Dragon in theaters. And yeah, that is the only movie I put on my calendar that came out that day. I am not gonna put any other movie that came out that day because I don't think there are any that are interesting or decent as far as the ratings. So yeah, I'm not naming any movie in particular, although you can probably guess, and so I'm being insulting poor movie. But yeah. And then Farewell Kenny Baker. I put this on my calendar once I found that out. I did not put this on my calendar beforehand. If I put this on my calendar beforehand, you would probably get pretty suspicious. But no. It was R2-D2. And so yeah. And then now, Angry Birds and God's Not Dead 2 on DVD. So these movies are on DVD, and so yeah. So if you want to watch them, they will be there someday. So yeah. And then, here we go. And then on the 18th, Manzy Time starts college. So Manzy Time is somebody I know, and I catch up on calendar video. Which doesn't mean that this will be on YouTube, on this date, but it means that I will be uploading this, tonight, and so this is the 18th today. So yeah, I catch up on calendar videos today, and so tomorrow, this is tomorrow, which will be today by the time I upload this, Kubo and the Two Strings, and a movie called Ben-Hur, is in theaters, and Kubo is stop motion, and, this Ben guy is, about some guy who fights in the Colosseum. I think he's a Christian and everything. And Kubo, it looks probably more interesting, but that doesn't mean the other one's not interesting. But, yeah, I like Japanese kinds of movies. But Roman kind of movies might be interesting. And then we have a bunch of other stuff, so next week, this is actually the future I'm talking about. Can you believe that? Because all these months, all these calendar videos, I've been talking in past tense. Now I'm talking in future tense. Ratchet and Clank will be on DVD on Tuesday. So, yeah. If you want to go check that out, it'll be cool. And then, here we have on the 25th, Saint Jasper Day. So Saint Jasper is a cat, and he's not really a saint. But I decided it was a nice touch to my calendar just because I decided to. This is the day that, in 2007, which is 9 years ago, we got Jasper. And he's a nice cat. He's sweet, he purrs, he, loves to be pet, you know, he's just sweet. But he sometimes misbehaves. Yeah. So, yeah. And then, on the 29th, I start college again. So, yeah. So, I'm hoping I start college again. I think I got a fee waiver. It's really complicated because I haven't heard back from financial aid, and I haven't bought any books, and I don't even know what books to get, and I haven't heard back. I really don't know what I'm doing, but I'm gonna do my best. And then the Jungle Book is on DVD. And, so, yeah. Also this month, which tomorrow, I might actually start working again, and oh my goodness, I forgot to put 1 and 2 here. No, not. But, it's not the right time because I'll have to change the text color. Sorry about that. And then, I'm gonna reveal next month's theme. This really is next month's theme. So afterwards, so yeah. Next month's theme will be, delete object, The Hunger Games 3, Mockingjay. So, what does it mean now that I'm caught up with my calendars? So yeah. You probably don't know what it means to not be caught up with calendars if you're viewing this, cause, you know, I haven't got very many views right at this point, but you know, what it basically means now that I'm caught up with my calendar videos, I am going to start continuing doing calendars, and what I'm actually thinking about doing is, I will take suggestions. I mean, honestly, I will probably still do what I want to do sometimes, but if you suggest something, it may, you know, put me in a mindset of being more, you know, more thinking about doing it than if I just decide to do it. So, you're really open to suggest. If you think there's a calendar that you really want to see, you know, or a movie you want to see made into a calendar, or maybe a video game. But remember, I do have a rule that I won't do anything that I haven't seen, or if I haven't seen, or I won't see, and then, you know, I won't watch R-rated movies, just so you know. So, yeah. And then some PG-13 movies I might not watch. But, yeah, if you want to watch more calendar videos, if you have ideas, then feel free to comment about them. I mean, there will be some I'll do anyway, whether people comment about them or not. But then, you know, if people say that there's a calendar they really want to see and I keep seeing it, then I may start thinking about it at the very least. And when I start thinking about it, I'm more likely to do it than if I have no thoughts about it at all. So yeah, that is my August 2016 calendar. I am now all caught up. I'm not going to be doing a calendar video every day like I've been doing. But I will do them once a month, to stay present. And so, thanks for watching this calendar video, and it's gonna be really awesome. Thank you, and, if you want to thank God, then you can thank Him also, because He probably helped me stay through it, and, you know, having to stay up till midnight to upload, so, yeah. So, thanks for watching calendar videos, and I'll see you next month. Bye!